What is up, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. Today we're back for the My Team journey, this time for the Japanese Grand Prix episode number 53. And well, I'm not so certain that this race will be as clear cut and dry as maybe some of the previous ones we've had. We've been on a good run of form lately, getting up a couple of wins, maybe 3 wins on the bounce. I'm not too sure, I actually can't remember. But that may come to an end here at the Japanese Grand Prix. It is a very difficult track to be competitive with against the AI. So we'll need to bring our A game heading into this race. 5.6k resource points to spend. And we're going to, well, spend the majority of those on durability. We're going to go for the ICE. We're also going to upgrade the durability on the turbocharger. So that's the best part of 4,000 resource points down the drain. But hopefully these points that we're spending now will significantly reduce the chance of having catastrophic failures in the race. I mean, it did say failure analysis, so surely it's a good thing going forward.
Okay, I need your attention. The tech regulations are changing. There's a risk some of our hard work will be undone, so we need to mitigate it. As soon as you can, I want you to look at the developments we have and tell us what areas you want to invest in protecting.
Oh wow, as soon as I spend the bulk of my resource points, the new regulation changes are coming in. So that's not ideal. We'll have a look at that in a second and see what departments are affected. It turns out the aero, chassis, and durability are all going to be affected heading into next season. So all the upgrades we've got on the car, the best part of nearly 70 upgrades, in fact 65 parts are at risk. If we don't adapt those, we lose them. So now for the rest of the season, we've got to consolidate the upgrades we've just put on the car for the last 50 odd episodes. So wow, we are in for a massive shakeup heading into Season 4 of this career mode journey. Thankfully, we do have 2,000 resource points to spend, and we're going to deplete them all by saving, in my opinion, what I value the most, and that is weight reduction. So we're going to basically spend all the dosh on that literally right now, consolidating the ultimate weight reduction upgrades, the major ones, and now we've only got enough points to do another minor, but we're heading into the Grand Prix itself. We're heading into practice. We're going to earn some more resource points, and we're going to be able to have the chance to consolidate further. Thankfully, this is a long season, and we've got a lot of time to fix up the parts that are at risk. So that's lovely to see. Another 1,000 resource points brought in via practice. So again, heading into next episode, we'll be able to consolidate a lot more parts. But there we go. That is the regulation changes for Season 4. I'm fairly confident that we'll be able to consolidate all of them, at least on the performance side, but that's going to be our goal for the rest of the season. Anyway, time for quali. So here we are for qualifying for the Japanese Grand Prix, and, well, Big Eyes Ben is back again for another race. Hey, it was a great omen for Singapore. We had a dominant display at that racetrack. I really had my eyes on the prize, I guess you could say. So, hey, let's keep it running for this Grand Prix too. Anyway, through qualifying 1, bringing the car up to speed. Not gonna lie, the car was a little bit edgy. At least on the rear end through some of the corners. What's interesting to note at this racetrack, I'm not running an aggressive setup from the traditional standpoint. Look at the tires overheating on the second lap. That is not ideal. In fact, I think I'm running maximum tire pressures, or was. So we'll look to fix that up, or at least lower the pressures from what we had. But that is yeah, not ideal. Anyway, I'm running 1-1 anti-roll bars. Normally, I'm running 1-7, 1-8, 1-9, hell, 1-11 at some tracks. So, the car shouldn't be overly oversteery. You don't want an oversteery car at a high-speed circuit like this, hence why the anti-roll bars are as low as what they are, but it's still interesting to note that the rear tires were struggling as much as what they were, and it was the rears that were higher in terms of temps than the fronts. So that is a cause for concern. We've just got to drive around the problem. Not only that, we're struggling for tire temps, at least on the second lap. Also struggling majorly for pace. We are a long way off the pace. We're like a second a lap slower than our teammate, which is, well, not very ideal, is it? 5 minutes to go in qualifying 2. We did make it through Q1, thankfully, even though our lap that I did was pretty good. But that's pretty much the maximum I could get out of it. I don't think we'll be able to challenge for Q3, potentially. We're doing our best job here. You can see the left-hand side tires are the ones that are suffering the most. And there's really nothing I can do about this. This is the nature of this Suzuka circuit. It's so high speed. You've got to carry the speed like the AI are. But the increased nature of those G-forces and speeds are just taking the life out of the tires. They can't cope in these conditions. And it's only affecting me, unfortunately. But yeah, there we go. We push on for a second lap and, well, unsurprising, the tires are absolutely cooked. 110 degrees on all of them as we come to the end of that spin. So I think that's curtains, guys, for qualifying for the Japanese Grand Prix. With the nature of qualifying, higher speeds, higher G-forces, we are going to be affected more by temps in qualifying than in the race. We're going to have better pace in the race anyway. We're going to be running through the corners slower in the race anyway. So I think the pace will come to us more naturally. We'll start on the medium compound tyre as well for the Grand Prix, which will be able to deal with tyre temps better anyway. But yeah, pace, not amazing. Even Ayrton Senna, not really having the same pace as the Red Bulls. So this could be a Max Verstappen demolition job, which we've been more used to at the start of the season. Hopefully that's not the case and we can fight back.
Welcome along then to the magnificent Suzuka International Circuit, a stone's throw away from Issa Bay in the beautiful Japanese countryside. What surprises lie in wait for us today in the Japanese Grand Prix? Anthony Davidson joins me once again in the commentary box, and it's fantastic to have you with us here today, but I'm curious, as a man with experience out on the track, how do you stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
From the moment qualifying's over, you start to feel the adrenaline in your body build up and the buzz in your stomach as you anticipate the run down into turn 1. It's all a bit like going into battle, and the unknown situation makes you nervous. Those pre-race nerves are a good thing. The day you don't have them means that you don't care anymore. And of course, you have to make sure that all the procedures are second nature to you so that they're not taking up too much of your capacity.
Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he starts from pole position, with Charles Leclerc alongside. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Perez, Bottas, Pierre Gasly, and Senna, Norris, Hamilton, Sainz, and Daniel Ricciardo, Ocon, Benjamin, Yuki Tsunoda, and Armstrong, Vettel, Stroll, Daniel Ticktum, and George Russell, Latifi, Giovinazzi, Mick Schumacher, and Nikita Mazepin. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head to trackside for today's race.
Okay, here we go. I know what you can do. Don't let me down.
I'll try not to, mate, but not gonna lie, you guys have been letting me down a little bit. Not giving me a car that can actually withstand its own pace. So, yeah, we'll see what we can do. Japanese Grand Prix, P12 on the grid. We're going to start on the medium compound tyre. And just playing around with race strategy here. I know I want to start on the medium compound tyre. I want to finish the race either on hards or on softs. I've been I had a conversation with Jan Otme the other day. And he's brought it to my attention that he uses the hard compound tyres a lot, the mediums and the hards, to help deal with the tyre temp issues. So I'm kind of thinking about using the hards in this race. We'll have to play it by ear and see how the mediums get on, really. But yeah, we might finish on the soft, but if the medium is no good, then to hards it is. So, yeah, we'll see how we go. Hopefully, we can stay with the challenging pack, and then in the second stint, just clean up. So, here we go, ready for this race to get underway. 5 red lights, and we are raring to go here at the Suzuka International Circuit. Looks like a pretty good launch for us there. Even on the harder compounded tyre, nearly drawing alongside Esteban Ocon as we head into turn 1. Round the outside we go, on the Alpine. The McLaren as well is under pressure. We go round the outside at turn 2, and we're still side by side as we run through the S section. Hopefully we can get this guy a little bit of understeer. Had to correct a bit of a slide, and it actually took up quite a bit of space on the racetrack, and Ricciardo got spooked, backed out of it, and now we are in the top 10 in this Japanese Grand Prix. So, not bad. Not a bad start at all when you consider we are on the slower tyre at this stage. But, you know, even though it might be the slower tyre, this might be the faster tyre for us to run as we go up the inside of Carlos Sainz. Norris with a massive lockup. Nearly ran into the side of him, but thankfully, ultimate brake upgrades are on this car, meaning we can pretty much stop this thing on a dime. To be fair as well, that might be part of the reason why we're lacking in terms of pace, potentially. I'm not sure I'm maximizing the full braking or stopping power in this car. I feel like I could probably stop more efficiently. Sometimes I'm braking too early, and other times when I try and push the limits with the brakes, it doesn't work out so well. Up the inside! Yes, we do get up the inside of Norris into the Casio triangle. A little bit half-hearted there, I'm not going to lie, but it did work out for us. Here's the replay. Up the inside, Norris left the space, and crucially for us, we're able to keep it clean without having a lockup. Once we start locking up the tyres, that's when things get a little bit ugly in those wheel-to-wheel scenarios. Anyway, P8 so far in this race. Hamilton next. He's not having a good time of things in that Mercedes, is he? This could well be his last season in Formula 1 if this keeps up. But you never know, big regulation change. He might want to stay on the extra season. Around the outside into the final chicane once again. And this seems to be a happy hunting ground for us. We seem to gain a lot of time on that back straight. Perhaps the AI are not deploying much ERS there. Here's Hamilton up the inside into turn 1. On the soft compound tyres, we squeeze him as much as we can. Contact in between turn 1 and 2. Thankfully, no front wing damage for Hamilton, and also no right rear puncture for me as well, as that could have been curtains for both of us. You're pretty much at the mercy of the physics when you're so grip limited. One of the Ferraris is out. That's Charles Leclerc, and that looks to be mechanical. Are we going to see a safety car at the end of this lap? That could really benefit the Red Bulls and everyone on the soft compound tyres who started this race on. So, hopefully for our sake, there's no safety car at this stage because we're just starting to come good in this race. Meanwhile, if you look at the minimap, when we go back to normal gameplay pictures, you'll see that the Red Bulls have a massive lead in this race. At least 5 seconds over the Mercedes. So, they're absolutely dominant today. I'm not sure there's that much we can do as we go around the outside of our teammates. Senna going defensive into the Casio triangle. Senna's got a lot of history at that corner. Thankfully, he doesn't make more history with his teammates on this occasion. I think he was pinched on the inside. Maybe he didn't have the confidence in the car, much like we don't at the best of times, and didn't want to chance it, didn't want to go in too deep. Otherwise, that would have ended in catastrophe for both of us. Purple third sector, which is lovely to see. The car is starting to come into its own a little bit as we get towards the end of this first stint for the soft compound runners. We're only about halfway through our stint, and we're going round the outside again on an AI driver. Round the outside of Pierre Gasly. My word, we are really flexing the muscles at this part of the racetrack and at this part of the race. When these guys are really starting to drop off in terms of tyre performance, these mediums are really coming into their own now. So if this continues, the one stop on softs is going to be very easy to pull off. However, I am maybe a little bit concerned about the performance of the soft compound tyre, at least with these guys. Maybe the hard is the way to go, or we just stretch the mediums a really long way to the point where we've burned off most of the energy, most of the tyre wear is not a concern anymore. I'm not too sure. We go around the outside of Bottas there with DRS. Essentially a free pass and a fastest lap along the way. Thank you very much. The 2 Red Bulls up next, and this is going to be some task to achieve, trying to topple these 2 guys who are, well, a long way up the road. And even us now, we're starting to suffer tyre temp issues. I was really, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? I was really agitating the tyres. I was putting a lot of energy through them in the lap on the build-up, trying to catch Bottas. But then at turn 1, just after I caught Bottas, I really went in deep into turn 1. And I guess since that moment, the tyres haven't been the same. They're now overheating the majority of the way around the circuit. And oh my god, that's not helping with the sliding on the exit of the corner. Don't touch the curbs there, Ben. I'm not driving well since overtaking Bottas. He's still in my DRS, and if anything, I'm losing time to the race leaders. So I'm thinking about getting off these tyres. We can't really seem to recover the tyre temps. Even on this straight, they do cool out a little bit, but then by the time we get to the corners again, they're overheating again. So it's a tricky scenario to be in, as Verstappen is now in for the undercut on medium compound tyres. Perez is, I imagine, going to come in on the very next lap. But Red Bull have played their hand, and now with these tyres seemingly not recovering, oh my word. It might be time to get rid of these. It might be time to switch up the strategy. I'm always going for the 2 softer compound tyres, but given the mediums are overheating, I don't think the softs have a chance. We'd have to stretch these tyres another 4 or 5 laps. I don't think it's the way to go. We're going to chance it on the hard compound tyres, based on what Jana Otmir told me the other day. So, onto the hards. We might be able to push flat out on these tyres, because the harder compound tyres, the harder you go, the wider the working range. So, hopefully, we'll be able to switch these tyres on and be fast. Perez gets the lead of the Grand Prix, by the way. He overcut Verstappen quite nicely. We put in a purple 3rd sector, so that tells me these tyres might actually be the way to go. 26.4 for Perez. We come across the line and match it straight away on a harder compounded tyre. So, based on that reckoning, we are faster than the Red Bulls. We just have the pace deficit, or the gap, to make up for the rest of this Grand Prix. 13 laps to go, and this is the scenario. To be in a chance of claiming back some points in this championship. Remember, Verstappen is still 40 points ahead of me in the driver's standings, and there's only about 6-7 races to go. We can ill afford to lose races, and we can desperately not afford for Verstappen to win this race. He's now starting to up the pace now, and is slowly getting within DRS range of his teammates. I imagine it's only a matter of time before Christian Horner comes over the radio and says to Perez, time to get out of the way. It is Verstappen's race. It is Verstappen's championship. But I don't exactly have an answer to these guys. I'm trying to push as much as I can. Haas is out of the Grand Prix. That's Nikita Mazepin with an engine failure. I'm hoping that we now get a safety car. I didn't want one in the first stint, but I definitely want one now, because we don't have enough time in this race to catch up to the Red Bulls, at least on my current pace. They're going faster and faster, and I can't seemingly keep up with that pace, it seems, as Schumacher doesn't get out of the way at turn 1 or turn 2 for that matter. And I think that now is pretty much curtains for us trying to catch the Red Bulls in this race. We were only marginally faster than them on some laps, and other laps they're just marginally faster than me. So the pace is pretty much identical with those guys. If anything, they're probably more consistent than I am, and they're just easing away from me at this stage. So, oh my goodness, nearly crashing into the Williams on the approach to turn 1. I think my only card left to play now is the fastest lap. So now we're going to gun for a fastest lap on this 24th one. We've got a bit of slipstream from Dan Ticktum, albeit a little bit unorthodox slipstream. We'll see if we can work with it. We're going to use all of the ERS on this lap. I mean, we've been doing that every lap anyway, but we're really going to push the tyres for all they're worth on this lap. 3.5 tenths up as we run through the first sector split. And this is all in an effort to just get one extra point back in this race, in this championship. It'll be a 2-point swing. since it's Verstappen's fastest lap at this stage, and he's only going faster. Can we match it or even better it as we cross the line? 25.6. We go half a second faster than our previous best in this race, and that might be all the pace I have, to be honest. That was a really good lap from me there. Perhaps I was overdriving the tyres a few laps ago, but I certainly wasn't overdriving on that last lap. On the penultimate lap of the Grand Prix now, and we're just trying to do a little bit more of what we did on the previous lap, and again we go faster, mid-25s now. So when we get it all together, we are faster than the Red Bulls, but it was very hard to keep up this tempo throughout the entirety of the Grand Prix. I tried to go for another last lap, fastest lap, but unfortunately I wasn't able to get it, but Sergio Perez was with the Super ERS. He gets the win, but we lose the fastest lap.
Well done, good finish. You stepped up and achieved what we asked. Good job.
Uphill battle today. The Red Bulls were just on another level. Couldn't catch them. GG's. We'll live to fight another day.
Victory for the team from Milton Keynes then, after a quality performance. Anthony Davidson, what helped them deliver this result, do you think?
Well, I honestly feel it was down to the driver and car today. I mean, we can talk driver skill all day, but if you don't have a solid team to back that, you're never going to get anywhere. When you hit that sweet spot of having both an excellent driver and an incredible car, that's when you see results like those we witnessed today.
The drivers are en route to the podium as we speak. What a fantastic win for the Red Bull team. They performed exceptionally today, keeping us firmly on the edge of our seats throughout the entirety of the race. Congratulations to everyone at the team.
I love how in the game, it's the opposite to real life. I'm the one who's always wearing a hat, and no one else does, but in the game, everyone's wearing hats, except me. Thank you, Codemasters. Anyway, GG to Red Bull. Sergio Perez didn't get the fastest lap in the end. It was Valtteri Bottas, so, okay, fair enough. Even though we couldn't get it together on that last lap, we were going to lose the fastest lap to somebody. Everyone was just getting faster. It seems like the tyre wear maybe wasn't as harsh as we thought it was going to be. Really, the limiting factor today was the tyre temps. And it got to a certain point in the tyre's life cycle, and then it became very hard to recover the tyre temps anymore, like we saw on the mediums. I tried to do something different today with the hard. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. But I think the deciding factor today was just the pace that the Red Bulls had and the gap that they were able to build in the first 10 laps. That was what won them the race today. I think even if I went to the softs, yes, I would have had much better pace for a few laps, but then the tires would have just escalated, you know, astronomically after those first few laps, and I wouldn't have had any pace in the dying few laps. So I think whichever way you look at it, it would have been very, very difficult to beat the Red Bulls today. They were just on another level. It was their day today. This is their track. We'll come back stronger in the next Grand Prix and hopefully take the fight to Verstappen once again. But this is a day that we didn't need in the context of this championship. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to see plenty more racing game content. I'm not too sure what the next Grand Prix is coming up, but I hope it's a decent one for us. We've had some very strong tracks in the last few rounds building up to this. But this was one for the AI. Hopefully, at the very least, the next Grand Prix we go to is somewhat neutral. And then we can see what the true pace is relative to our rivals. This championship, man, this is so tight. I don't know who's going to win this. But Verstappen has a big advantage so far. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And until the next one, I'll see you next time.